This is ContraZoom, where we go back and forth about film. On today's episode, we are continuing our A24 retrospective series. This is our 36th edition. You can listen to recent episodes like 318, A24 retrospective Room, 310, A24 retrospective Oasis Supersonic, or go all the way back to episode 108, A History of A24 Films, to get the full backstory on the company. Today we are talking about the 2015 movie Green Room, directed by Jeremy Saulnier. The movie is about a hardcore punk band called the A24, who after having a gig cancelled on them, get rebooked at a small private venue, which turns out to be a neo-Nazi club. After witnessing the aftermath of the club decides that the band isn't allowed to leave, meaning they must fight for their lives to get out. Some of the band members are played by the late Anton Yelchin, Alia Shawkat, and Callum Turner, with the neo-Nazi club owner played by Patrick Stewart. Joining us today is Riley Orr. Riley is a Vancouver-based actor who can currently be seen on the second season of the CBS show Watson as the reoccurring role of Glenn 1N, a financial advisor with serious allegations against him, who is in group therapy for psychopaths, and is also a body double. Is that the correct?
Yeah.
Body
like
double? An acting double for Peter Mark Kendall, who plays the twins on the show, and will be seen in the upcoming Amazon series Off Campus, based on the popular hockey romance series by author Elle Kennedy. Welcome to the show, Riley. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Dakota. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm very excited to do this. We've been talking about this. You had mentioned to me that you'd want to talk about this movie. So
yeah, we saw it. Just what was it, last week? 2 weeks ago.
It's 2 weeks ago now.
2 weeks ago now, yeah. At the Rio Theater in Vancouver. And there was a Q&A talk back after with the director. And it was a wonderful experience. So yeah, I'm stoked to get into it.
Nice.
Gentlemen, I hope you appreciate the situation. Things have gone south. No doubt. Now, whatever you saw or did is no longer my concern. But let's be clear. It won't end well.
Okay, well then let me just get right into a little bit of backstory here. Green Room was directed by Jeremy Saulnier, a DIY filmmaker who gained prominence with the brutal revenge thriller Blue Ruin in 2013, and has since made the thrillers Hold the Dark and Rebel Ridge. Green Room stars Anton Yelchin as bassist Pat, Alia Shawkat as Sam the guitarist, Joe Cole as Reese the drummer, and Callum Turner as Tiger, the lead singer of the A24, who are on a Pacific Northwest tour that is hemorrhaging money. After the Portland gig at a college gets cancelled, the booker feels guilty and hooks them up with a gig at a private venue that his cousin works at in the middle of nowhere outside the city. The band is warned that it is frequented by the boots and braces type, a euphemism for skinheads. The band, well aware of the punk scene, understands that this is typical, and if you aren't looking for trouble, you likely won't receive any. After arriving at the venue, they begin their set with the iconic Dead Kennedys song Nazi Punk's Fuck Off as a joke, which pisses off a large portion of the audience before playing their usual material. After the set, during the loadout, Pat returns to the green room to grab something, where he finds members of the headlining band standing over the dead body of a young girl, with her friend Amber, played by Imogen Poots, in shock. When Pat tries to call 911, this forces the club, which is actually the front of a meth lab owned by neo-Nazis, to hold the band captive until they can decide how to dispose of the bodies and not get the cops involved. After realizing club owner Darcy, played by Patrick Stewart, isn't going to let the band out freely, they must fight their way out, which includes having attack dogs set on them, goons sent in with box cutters and blades, and eventually guns. The film is unflinching with its violence and brutality, with moments not for the faint of heart, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have its fair share of humor as well, with band members arguing over their desert island artist, dicks being drawn over the band member who falls asleep first, and even Sam threatening to tell the crowd that Pat is Jewish if he backs out of the prank of playing Nazi Punk's Fuck Off. The film had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival back on May 17th, 2015, with A24 acquiring the American distribution rights in August of 2015 ahead of its opening night screening at the Toronto International Film Festival in September of the same year. It had a limited theatrical release in the beginning of April 15th of 2016. This is going to be a spoiler-filled episode, so if you've not seen Green Room yet, we suggest you do so first. First off, let's start with you, Riley. We saw this film together, like we mentioned, a couple weeks ago at the Rio, an independent theater in Vancouver, which screened the film and featured a Q&A from Saunier, who is in town filming his latest film, horror film, October. So I'm sure we're going to be referencing this Q&A quite a bit. But what's your history with this film? Had you seen it before?
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly when I saw it. I think it was pretty. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I think it had come out. I don't know how I got turned on to it. But I remember watching it and never seeing Patrick Stewart in a role like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really. I just love how understated he is the whole time, playing it so close to. He doesn't do too much, and he's so menacing in that his stillness and his quietness. But yeah, I remember watching it, and I'm not a huge body horror fan unless it's like really well done special effects,
Mm-hmm.
like The Thing or Carpenter stuff. So seeing this movie, I got more of appreciation for that side of it, and I think that the special effects are insane in this movie. Like his hand when it's all
oh god,
it's so visceral, and you just can feel it, and also how they how he chose to show it too, with like behind the door, and then
you sort of see the aftermath.
yeah, it's nuts. No, but I love this movie. I think it's one of my favorite thrillers. I think it's so fresh, and it's a great idea, and yeah.
Had you seen Blue Ruin before?
No, I haven't. I've been meaning to since we saw it last. Just been busy with work.
Yeah, I know, that's fair. No, I had seen Blue Ruin before based on the recommendation of another movie podcast I listened to called Film Spotting, where they do sort of like their award every year, where a movie that's sort of like smaller first-time directors, things like this, emerging directors,
Right.
and that was one of the nominees, and so like they're always bang on the money with the movies that they choose, and oftentimes the winners or some of the other nominees go on to be having very successful careers. People like Chloe Zhao won it and stuff like that. So like they have a very good track record.
Like before Nomadland?
Yeah, for The Rider was the movie that she won it for, I believe, or at least was a nominee. So like, yeah, I learned about Blue Ruin and Jeremy Saunier because of this podcast, and so when I watched that, and then by the time Green Room came out, I was like, hey, it's the guy that did Blue Ruin. I definitely got to check this out.
Right.
And yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about has to do with the violence and how it's portrayed, because it's very graphic and in your face, but it's also done very sparingly. And like, there's only a couple moments, and some of the moments are so brief.
Yeah, it's like that the classic. The Jaws isn't scary because you don't see him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the shark, and I think the movie plays with that really well. I also love how they portray the Nazis as just being fucking idiots and like so out of their depth, and like the thing I love is when they use the same tactics twice to kind of get out of there, like, because I think they just think like, oh, they're not going to remember about the feedback on the microphones, and it's I think the movie treats them as fucking idiots, which, I mean, not to get political, but
yeah, Darcy seems to be the only one with some sort of intelligence in terms of like, okay, how do we get out of this without getting the cops involved?
Yeah.
And it sort of seems like all of his underlings under him, they're trying. They're doing their damnedest to like do their best, and like you said, they're all kind of screw ups and not that great, but not in a way that's like super comical, where it's like, oh, the bad guys are so dumb.
I don't know. I think the end's pretty funny. Like the two, those actors I think they did a great job of like just portraying that like cluelessness and like out of your depth, and like, yeah, we're gonna fucking get them, but like
they're used to selling meth to crackheads.
Yeah, and now they're dealing with like I mean, they're not dealing with anyone special, I guess,
Yeah.
really, but just they are falling into their trap, which I like. I like the reversal of that. I also really, for the writing convention of having the green room be like this safe space to like come, like they escape and then they have to go back and then they have to replan, and the movie just kind of keeps like bringing you back to this, the titular, the room, and yeah, I think I really like that as a writing device. It's really clever.
It reminds me a little bit of David Fincher's Panic Room in that regard.
Right, yeah.
Where like that very much is so, that's a security box, impenetrable, blah, 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 all that sort of thing. That's what the whole device is. But it's very similar in that regard where you escape back to the green room, you get the lock on there, you board it up a little bit with stuff because like these Nazis, they don't want to be using guns because that's definitely going to, set off some alarm bells, whether someone in their community, because they're clearly in some sort of farm community, their neighbors, the cops were there before, they might come back again.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to dispose of bodies if you shoot them. And so that was the one thing where like very early on, we're like, no guns are allowed because if we shoot them, then there's going to be an autopsy report where the original plan seemed to be that they were going to burn them, or they're going to like,
well, they use the dogs, right?
Yeah,
like
they're going to use the dogs to attack
it up,
them.
to be like they were trespassing.
Yeah.
They were trying to siphon gas or whatever.
Yeah. And then it was like use the blades because, you can't use anything to explain that.
True.
And then it was the idea of, okay, then we're going to stage it as a freak accident where they were siphoning the gas and their car goes up and their van goes up in flames or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But bullet holes and those will be found when an autopsy gets done.
Yeah, it's all traceable.
It's all traceable. Yeah.
That's like, I think that shows the genius of Darcy, the Patrick Stewart's character.
Yeah,
of just he's very cold and calculated and collected the entire time, and even like, I guess we're already in spoilers immediately, but like just the end, his death is I think one of the coolest like cinematic deaths. It's just he just starts walking, man. He's like. He's banking on them not being able to shoot him.
Yeah.
And being able to get far enough away that he can shoot him.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. He's so smart.
And also sort of feels like it's a bit of a coward's way out. Like he knows this is the end. And so he's just going to walk away from this situation. And like, he's not going to try to help his fellow neo-Nazis anymore. He's not going to try to do anything. He's just like, nope, I'm done with this situation. Goodbye.
He also just like underestimates them the entire time.
Yeah.
And even up to the end, and I think like that's like his fatal flaw.
Yeah,
like he doesn't think they have it in him, and I don't think they do.
Yeah,
until they're put in that fight or flight situation.
Yeah, and at that point they'd experienced so much, especially like seeing their friends brutally murdered.
Sure,
dogs attacking them, and like. I'm a huge animal lover. I don't think I could ever, shoot a dog. But, if it comes down to someone is literally sicking an attack dog on me to rip my throat out, and that's my only option, you kind of have to make decisions at that point. And so, like, everything is sort of leading up to that moment where they're like, no, Darcy, he can't live. Like, no.
No way. Okay, so the fight or flight, it's like there is no, they're like, the humans are put in that situation, that like that carnal, that reactive, do I go, do I stay? But they can't. There is no flight. There's no way out.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's really what I loved about the movie is there wasn't just like a certain way there was no just like secret escape way or they have to fight. Like it's the only option.
One of the things I really liked in Sonia's Q&A, this is the first time I'm going to bring it up here, probably be more, was the way he talked about structuring the script was in terms of like leaving breadcrumbs. And that was the way that he was doing character development was, they have to learn how to do this. And that is the character development that will advance the story and make them go through their character arc and things like that. And it was such a unique way to sort of structure a script. Like I almost want to like, watch it again and like after every scene sort of like pause and break down like, okay, what did we learn here? What happened here? Because it's so many little things and you go back and by the end you're like, oh, and this connects to this and this connects to this and this connects to this. And it's like all one big giant puzzle, but he does it in like such a subtle way that like I can't even think of another screenwriter that structures their stories like that because it's just so unique.
Well, he said like he didn't know who was gonna live and who was going to die.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. how like forgetting what's the first guy who dies.
I think is it the drummer or is it the singer?
It's the
because those
drummer. It's the guy that's like has control of the situation. Like he's the guy who's like
he's the big
puts
dude.
him in the barrel lot. Yeah,
he
like,
was the drummer.
So he's probably like the smartest or like the most willing to fight out of all of them. I wouldn't say smartest, but maybe like just like that.
Well, he
he's
showed
most
that
aggressive, I guess.
Yeah, he showed that he knew some sort of mixed martial arts and sort of knew how to control the situation of like, okay, my body is a weapon. How do I control the situation by using my body? And so he like puts this guy in like this chokehold sort of thing.
True, yeah.
And like is like willing to snap his elbow.
Yeah,
because of it.
And then he's the first one to die because he's like he finds the window, and I think that's what Darcy's betting on. Is they're gonna just try to find a way out, and he just the stabbing is so. It's so visceral and so
sound.
Yeah, it's just like it's not a way I want to go for sure.
Yeah.
None of that I want to happen to me. I'll put that on the record right now.
Let's play a game. What death do you most want in this game? Do you want the dog to rip your throat out? Do you want to be stabbed a bunch of times?
Yeah, they're all terrible.
It's all awful. All of it.
Maybe the the X-Acto blade was the best through the stomach. Oh my god. It's so brutal.
Yeah, that was some Cronenberg stuff for sure. We're just gonna cut up him from his belly button up to his chest with a box cutter.
The thing I have a question about in this movie is the drug lab underneath the green room, and it doesn't seem like it's that well hidden. Like
it looked like there was some sort of like you see in all these old horror movies. Whenever you go to the basement, there's an exit that goes a ramp or whatever, but the door is always locked. So it seemed like there was some sort of like delivery door or something. And I think they built like what looks like a fire pit or something to disguise it, or a chimney over it. So I think they must have some sort of vent or way to like get stuff in and out that way.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that reveal though. It's like, it's not just a place to congregate for, to build this community of ne'er-do-wells and Nazis.
Yeah.
It's all about money. It's all about drugs. He's using these people's ideology as pawns and soldiers.
Which also, very interestingly, like the Crumbs stuff, early on, they say, make sure you keep the fire lanes clear. You cannot block this hallway. The owner is very particular about that. And you're like, that's a weird thing for a neo-Nazi to care about. And they repeat it again. And they don't tell you why, but it's because it's a freaking meth lab.
Yeah.
They don't want the place to go up in flames.
He's very Gus Fring in his approach to it all, which was cool to see. And not just because, Wong Kar-wai's not bald. Is he?
He's got pretty short hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close enough.
Yeah. Bald drug kings.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
We need more representation for our bald drug kings. Let's talk, I guess, a bit more about Patrick Stewart. You mentioned him off the top and how great he was. He's got this incredible moment where he gives this very threatening speech, but you don't see him. It's through a wall. Oh, he does it on the other side of a door, and you just hear him. And like they get close to the door because he's very quiet and he's very calculated with the way he's going to talk, and he's going to tell you exactly what is happening in this situation.
Yeah.
And it's so frightening.
Yeah, him having the control of their entire situation. Also the way he explains like why the cops are there and why they left. He makes it seem like there is a way out. He's like he gives that false sense of security. And I think even as the audience we're like, okay, he doesn't want them in there.
Yeah,
he's gonna try to get them out. I mean, obviously, something will go wrong. It's a movie.
Yeah.
But you kind of are also lured into that voice behind the door, that false sense of security. And then when he drops the gun, it's just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so good because, you're right. We haven't really seen anything like this from Patrick Stewart. Like, I'm sure most people are aware of him either through Star Trek or X-Men. Obviously, he's a huge theater actor in England. I've never seen him perform in theater, so I can't really talk about what it's like seeing him play, Shakespeare characters or something like that. But yeah, my exposure to him is as Jean-Luc Picard or Professor X.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
But in everything, I guess everything he does has such gravitas, you know? Like
Mhm.
I think it's just his presence, and yeah, he's an incredible actor.
Mm-hmm. And he knows how to harness it in a way that's intimidating. And so I'm curious. He sort of talked about, like Sonia talked about offering Patrick Stewart this part sort of as like a Hail Mary of like, oh, we'll just ask him and maybe he'll say yes. What's the worst that can happen? He says no. Great, cool, that's fine. I've been rejected before. I can accept another rejection, especially from Patrick Stewart, who is probably not going to be in my tiny little DIY movie.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy get. Yeah,
he talked about Patrick Stewart reading it, but like that sort of connection. I wonder what that must have been like of Patrick Stewart being like, I've never played something like this. This is such a unique and interesting character. And like, yeah, you can just go the neo-Nazi route where, he's yelling racial epithets or whatever it is, or he's ridiculous, over the top, things like that. But he decides to play him with this such serenity and calmness.
He plays him as a businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's awesome. And I mean, I who wouldn't take that role? I mean, it's I guess it sounds crazy that like these huge actors from franchises and everything are doing like these indie movies, but that's exactly what like they want to be doing, right?
Yeah.
Like Robert Pattinson going from Twilight to like Good Time, and High Life.
Yeah.
Like, like it, I think it's exactly it I guess it seems like a stretch, but no, it seems exactly what they'd want to be doing, And
that's why it's always like makes it great when you're like, hell yeah, you actually are an actor and you care about the craft. Because he could just read, oh, I'm playing a neo-Nazi drug dealer who murders a band.
Yeah.
Okay, what's interesting about that?
Yeah.
But finding the character in that and finding the truth in that, that's the interesting part.
For sure. Yeah. And I also like that it's not really a tropey movie.
No.
Like I don't think any of those the bandmates that when we get to learn about them, they're not really playing any particular horror trope, or they all seem like very real, grounded people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool to watch.
And I feel like, and this is something that Sonia did with Blue Ruin, where it's a revenge thriller, and sort of lightly the plot is a guy finds out that the man who I think murdered his father or something like that is getting out of prison after 15 years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, no, I don't believe he should be getting out of prison. I'm going to exact my own revenge. And so that's the plot of the movie. But it's like the fight scenes are so messy, and you're like, oh yeah, like this is how I would fight if I was, trying to do something. Like it would not be coordinated. I would hurt my hand. We'd miss the spots and
oh man,
be awkward.
The duct taped hand is crazy work. I would give up. I don't know. It seems the way it's like hanging. It's awful.
Yeah, and I feel like all four of the band members, and the girl that's sort of stuck in this situation with them, they all sort of act very realistically, where you can see yourself doing the same thing.
For sure.
If you were put in this circumstance, this is obviously a very heightened circumstance, but if you were put in this circumstance, how would you react to your life being threatened? How would you respond? How would you fight back? What would you use as your tools, as your weapons? All that sort of stuff felt very realistic and grounded, where you're like, okay, let's assess the situation. We're in this room. What is here at our disposal?
Yeah.
It's a pretty empty room. It's got some couches. It's got a bar fridge.
Yeah.
What is there that we can use?
Like he was saying in the Q&A, it really did feel like everything was kind of just happening in real time. Like there wasn't a planned ending, Like I think you feel that when you're watching the movie. It's like, okay, they just keep hitting different obstacles and finding ways around them. And I think it's a really tight screenplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very economical movie. It's only about 90 minutes, I think. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, an hour 35. Yeah, it's
one
just
location, pretty much. Like
pretty much, yeah.
But the opening's so great too. I love the opening of just like the band on tour, and showing like how kind of down on their luck they are. They're like playing a gig in the day at
a Mexican restaurant or something like that.
Restaurant. Not the vibe.
No.
And then they kind of are just like going gig to gig, but like they're obviously like, just doing what they got to do to survive.
Mhm.
And I think it kind of translates to the movie.
Yeah.
Like they're resourceful people.
Yeah. And like you sort of look at like what all of their skill sets are, and like we talked about the drummer being a mixed martial arts fighter. Like how many of us have friends that like, oh, they take karate on the side, or they do a little bit of boxing,
Sure, yeah.
or whatever like that. And the lead singer, he's the handsome one, he isn't the smartest of them, but he's got that cockiness that a lead singer has to have. And then
But he's not he doesn't really feel like the leader, which is interesting.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Anton Yelchin, by the fact of he's the biggest name in it other than Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He's the final guy in it. We obviously right away look to him as the leader. But like, he also seems like within the band, he's the one that's probably, making sure that their finances are in order, that they have enough gas money, or that they can get dinner, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's the one booking the hotel room for them, whatever it is. And so he sort of like, that's what he brings to the band.
Yeah, I think he kind of like takes on the responsibility, but I don't think it's something he necessarily wants.
Yeah.
To be in that position, and then obviously he doesn't want to be in that position in the green room. Yeah.
And it's not quite like a reluctant hero or reluctant leader. Like it just sort of seems to sort of come naturally, where he understands his place in this ecosystem of this band, where it's like, okay, he's the one that usually does the planning. I guess he has to think of something right now.
And also just what a freaking performance, man.
Yeah.
Like he is his paintball story monologue.
So good.
Just is perfect.
Yeah.
It's so like the whole movie is so understated. The acting is just so, it's just so real and so captivating. And gone way too soon, man. That guy was a beast.
It's a real shame, and that like this is sort of the movie that I always think of him the most. Obviously, the Star Trek franchise, him playing Chekhov.
Yeah.
But like he was such a bit part in those movies too. Like he's great as an ensemble character, but like he's never really the focus in any of those three films. When I think of Anton Yelchin, I think of this movie and just how he can command the screen and sort of control everything with this sort of quiet passion that he has.
Yeah, it's the subtlety. Yeah. It's really remarkable.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the great performances, honestly, in a horror movie.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Is this a horror? Would you classify this as horror?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's very much
thriller and horror.
Yeah.
Like very. It's such a weird line, but yeah. Okay.
It's a thriller with body horror, and as soon as you start including body horror, it's a horror movie.
Yeah. There's no ghosts, but
no,
there are ghouls
and Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the violence a little bit more.
Sure.
We talked about this moment where Anton Yelchin sticks his arm out and it gets caught out there, and that's when it gets all cut up, and he pulls it back, and it's just one of the most visceral, disgusting looking things, because you just see all these slices in his arm.
Yeah.
In a way of like, I don't want to like gross people out, but like if you're scoring meat or something like that,
Sure.
when you're cooking like a roast or something, in a way that sort of opens up that way, and it just was nasty. And then he does this thing where his like wrist flops down, and it's just like, oh, he's got like no feeling in his arm right now.
The limb hanging on by a thread is a very, because it's like, it's gone.
Yeah.
But like you're not gonna just get rid of it.
Yeah. And
there's no way he's living through that. Also, there's like the blood loss. I don't know, maybe, but I don't think so.
How quickly does he get to a hospital afterwards? Yeah, I don't know.
They're just chilling for a bit. Like, I guess do they try to cauterize it? I can't remember. They do, right?
No, I think they do that on something else.
Because they use, I love the moment when the lights turn off and Imogen Poots turns the light on
with her lighter. Yeah, lights a cigarette.
It's a great change of pace, and like, yeah, and that's also the same time when there's the other guy who's great. What's his name?
His name is Big Justin. I assume you're talking about the guy that works in the club.
That's the actor's name. Typecast.
Yeah. Eric Edelstein is his name, and he plays Big Justin.
Yeah, love him.
Yeah.
I thought he's like dealing with a bunch of like petulant school children.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe I got. But like, I love the control they take over him. And then when they decide to finish him off, oh my God, that's some gore right there.
Yeah.
That opening of the belly.
Yeah. But yeah, she flicks her lighter on, lights a cigarette, passes it to him, and so the lights are off, and so all you can see is this cherry. So every time he takes a drag, it gets like much brighter. You can see his face. And she says, if you see anything you don't like that the cherry does, shoot him. And like, that's such a good thing. It's like, okay, you got about 3 minutes while this cigarette is lit.
Yep.
He's going to smoke it. You can see him. But if that goes out or if it moves too quickly, you got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a time constraint.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then you get the dogs that come in. And of course, the owner trains them in German.
Yeah.
Which like is the most like neo-Nazi shit ever. We're like, it's actually funny that is.
Yeah, and they're German Shepherds. And
yeah.
I love the ending with the dog walking by them and they
leash just dragging behind them.
Yeah. And it's like it kind of makes you think like are these people like are they the same? They're like been kind of trained and conditioned and brainwashed to be doing what Patrick Stewart or what the fascist movement is, like kind of like how the attack dog has been trained. Like, are they really, are people inherently evil, or is it just how they have interacted with society and like the nurture of it?
Yeah. Yeah, because like, you hear stories in the news of like, oh, and a dog fighting ring has been broken up and things like that. Or you hear about how shelters, dogs have been mistreated and things like that. And when people adopt them, how skittish they are. But then they end up like really loving their lives and like making a great connection with their owners and things like that. And like, you can see that with this dog. He's walking away at the end and he goes and he lays down next to his owner who's like dead at this point. And it's like, no, this dog actually really loves this human and probably hates that like he gets mistreated.
Yeah.
And like, obviously it's this like very abusive relationship where the owner probably tortures the dogs to get them to fight, but then also will like show them love when they do good. And so the dog just thinks like, oh, I just want to, make my master, my owner proud of me.
Yeah, they're conditioned that way. It's like,
it's so sad.
Same way the feeble-minded are easily conditioned to believe in not the best stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Sonia made a bit of a joke about how when he made this movie, there's always sort of been neo-Nazis and far right-wing groups and things like that. It sort of seems a lot more timely these days than it did when he made it a
2015?
decade ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, which like, you can't watch this now and not sort of see the parallels of what's like going on in the US, especially with like groups like the Proud Boys.
I know.
And shit like
in the Pacific Northwest of all places. It's crazy.
Yeah. Although I have heard that outside of Portland, Oregon is a real hotbed for white supremacists.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're going down there, stay in the cities.
Yeah. Stick to the vegan stuff in
100%.
in Portland.
Yeah. It's interesting because of the fact that like they are obviously neo-Nazis and we get sort of this like imagery all throughout in terms of like, the lightning S's, so there's some swastikas, there's, the German eagle and things like that. We see all that sort of stuff in the background, but like they don't really talk about their ideology.
No.
Like these people are, Darcy in particular, are clearly more interested in making money off of meth than, hating people of color or, believing that...
He does drop an N-bomb, though.
He does, yes. But like, he doesn't like have some sort of manifesto.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it feels like that is kind of secondary. In his world is like that's kind of a way to control these people, to get them to work for him, and to go to this club and he provides them entertainment They're brainwashed, you know.
Yeah.
They're all brainwashed, and I love the reaction that they have to when they start playing that song. It's so punk rock, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like a mix of people. There's like some people that like are spitting at them or throwing their beers at them.
But there's some that are like
and some
enjoying
like,
it too.
This is
like,
funny.
You're like, oh
yeah, like we all know what kind of club we're in. This is funny.
Yeah.
This is objectively funny.
Strange time to be performing. I guess they're the opener, right?
Yeah, because it was the headliner was I can't remember what the name of the band is, but they're the one that kills the girl. I don't know if the lead singer or whoever he is in the band.
Oh right, okay, yes,
yeah. Because he talks about how he killed her during one of their songs, which is also one of the like most creepiest moments where he's like, "Oh, what was your third to last song?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, that song was heavy. That's the one I did her to."
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh God."
I like the shot of him at the end where he's like just in his house freaking out.
Oh, when he gets OD'd on heroin, his band, the other bandmate.
Yeah,
because as they're heading out, Darcy is like, "Hey, stay low for a couple days until this blows over. Here, the party's on us." And he slips them some meth or whatever it is, and then they go. And then later, he makes a subtle remark to one of the other Nazis, where he's like, "Oh, you know, I heard that there's some bad shit going around these days."
Right.
And then you see one of the guys in the hotel room who's dead, and then the lead singer guy just like sort of paranoid out of his mind, being like, "Well, I'm gonna die too."
Yeah, it's so fucked. Yeah. No, it's a fucking movie, man. it's a ride.
It really is. Yeah.
And it really never lets up.
No, it's very entertaining, and it's very much like the mechanics of it is like one thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It all sort of like builds off of each other.
I think the pacing is perfect.
Yeah.
Like it never overstays its welcome in one place. Like I'm saying, like going back, like if they were just stuck in the green room the whole time, I think that would suck, you know? But like leaving and like venturing into like unknown territory and then getting more information and then coming back and then making a new plan and then going back out and then losing people along the way and like just they're adapting, like they're adapting the whole time. I think it's very well crafted.
And punk music obviously plays a big part in this, and I think they do a really good job of incorporating it. I thought that they wrote original music for this band, but it sounds like they just used covers specifically of like Jeremy Saulnier's friends band and things like that, which is really interesting. So like there's a couple times we hear I'm not huge into the punk scene. I obviously know the song Nazi Punks Fuck Off. That's one of the most iconic punk songs ever. But like I don't really know much else other than that. And they include, from what I gather, a couple big songs, but for the most part, like all the Ain't Right stuff, that's just like his friends' bands and things like that, and doing like covers of that, which is like they do such a good job of like making that feel realistic and building this world.
The whole movie feels very DIY.
Yeah.
And the best way. Like, we have a location for 18 days. Let's shoot the shit out of it. Like, it's so tight, you know? It feels so feasible. It's very inspiring, I would say. And I think that's like the best thing you can do when you're making a movie is to make something that feels achievable. Yeah,
because if you're talking about locations, like they start in a cornfield, they siphon gas in a parking lot.
Yeah.
They play a gig at the Mexican restaurant. They sleep at the guy's house, his apartment, and then they're at the green room on that property.
Where do you think the actors' green room was?
In the green room?
Yeah. In green room, where were the actors? Where was their green room?
So this is definitely some behind the curtain stuff, but oftentimes on film sets, green rooms are either tents, so you build a 10 by 10 tent and you put some chairs in there, or if you're on a stage, you use a set that you're not using.
Yeah.
So, what part of the set were they using? The green room?
It never got confusing when they like cast her in the green room, but then you go to the green room,
set green room, and real green room.
They must have had to have a code.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, cast her in green room. Yes, we know that now. Which green room? Yes, the green room.
Yes,
Becomes
they are cast in green room. Which in the movie? No, in the room. No.
It becomes a who's on first bit.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite bit.
There's a lot of humor in this movie too.
For sure.
It comes from like
the dumb Nazis.
The dumb Nazis.
Yeah.
It comes from the jokes that the band has with each other because they have great chemistry, the four of them.
Oh, that's what I was gonna. I remembered a question I wanted to ask him was like, I wonder the sequence of shooting they did, because to me, like, they seem so tight in the beginning, and I almost wonder if they like that was like the last stuff they did. Because it's immediate. Their comfortability, their chemistry with each other.
They can tease each other, but it doesn't feel cruel.
No, they feel like a real group of friends.
Yeah.
And I wonder like if that stuff was all kind of at the end after they had gone through, an actual relationship with each other and gotten to know each other in the green room. Yeah. Because it just feels like it kind of feels very documentarian.
Yeah.
A little bit,
I wonder if maybe because we get two sequences of them performing, if maybe they did like a little band camp sort of thing.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And that's probably where they, if they did, 2-3 days straight of 8-hour rehearsals, by the end of it, I feel like you're going to be pretty tight with these people.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think like that would kind of make sense too, to like shoot that stuff first. And then shoot like the big stuff, how to get that out of the way, see what the movie's like, and then get like the beginning. I don't know. But it is weird, like shooting a movie out of order that way.
Yeah. And also like, I don't know how many days Patrick Stewart was on set, but I imagine he was probably not there very much. Like they probably shot all of his stuff 2, 3, 4 days, maybe total.
Yeah.
All in a row.
Do you think he was actually behind the door when they shot that?
That's some real behind the curtain stuff where no, probably not.
Probably not, right?
It was probably the script supervisor reading it. I know people don't want to hear that sort of stuff because that really ruins the illusion.
It's like have you ever heard David Prowse's voice in the Darth Vader costume?
Yeah.
Not great.
With his British accent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see it being either way because I feel like if he was there, I think you get that great performance from Yelchin in the band because that's Patrick Stewart over there.
Sure is.
But, I could also be like, well, they're actors. They're professionals. They should know how to act scared.
Yeah.
And intimidated.
They act really scared, man.
Yeah.
They're good. Like some of the best screams, man. Oh my God. They're like still in my head.
It's haunting, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of voice acting, the story that I always think of is, have you seen the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix?
I've seen the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Right. My favorite story about that is Scarlett Johansson, who does the voice. She was not originally cast that part. It was originally Samantha Morton. They filmed the whole movie with Samantha Morton on set reading the dialogue of the AI bot, whatever it is. And it wasn't until they got to the edit that they're like, she doesn't work for this role. We need to recast it. And so they brought in Scarlett Johansson after the movie had been completely filmed to just re-record the lines.
Damn.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't teach you in film school, folks, is you can be cast in a part and totally be cut out of it.
Yeah.
And
shoot the whole movie.
And be a tough watch party with your friends.
Yeah.
Yikes. I mean, ScarJo does a great job.
She's incredible.
But I wonder if like she's matching like the performance in a way that makes it work with Joaquin's.
Yeah. Because obviously you'd have to, because it's already been shot. So it's like, okay, well, you only have this amount of time to say your line before he comes in with his reply.
Yeah.
Depending on what the setups were.
Or if like they edit to what she was doing. I don't know. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Scarlett Johansson was on set for Green Room, and then they replaced her with Patrick Stewart.
Yes, exactly what I'm saying here. Yeah, that was the roundabout.
That makes sense.
I'd watch that movie. Scarlett Johansson,
Nazi leader. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like we've covered a good chunk of this movie and everything we saw. I love Sonia's Q&A, and I feel like a lot of it probably went over people's heads because he was talking about how he gets movies made and it's not sexy, but like for people like you and I, you've done some short films, you've made some music videos and things like that. Listening to that, I was like, ooh, hearing him describe his career path, that actually sounds achievable.
Yeah,
the way he did it.
And I also think a lot of people in that audience were probably in some way connected to it or knew about it, or like, yeah, I don't think they were maybe they were just seeing it for the first time to see a movie of the Rio, but I do feel like a huge part of our community are people, creatives that are interested in that. And yeah, he gave really concise, clear answers on like, while also like being very transparent and easy to understand with everyone, you know? No, he's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Like he felt like one of my like science teachers. But like a cool science teacher, you know?
Yeah.
He had a really chill, easy, didn't feel like Mr. Hollywood or at all, you know?
No. And like, I don't think you can be to make a movie like this.
No.
Like, this movie was too gritty. Like, he could have used, Metallica as the soundtrack or whatever.
Sure.
And the movie still would have been great. But, like, he chose to use actual DIY punk band music and things like that, and, like, really obscure, deep cuts where you're not going to get that if you're, like, Mr. Hollywood.
Yeah. Do you think they found, did he say if they found that location or if they built it or, like...
He didn't. I wish he talked about it. I don't know. That it feels like the exterior obviously was probably a real place, but I feel like the interior was probably built.
I feel like the green room was
like
built
that whole
for sure.
that whole thing, the stage, the bar, you've got this great long hallway, and then the green room where there's the meth lab underneath. Like I don't know, that really felt like
that feels set.
Yeah, that feels like that was a set.
But I don't know, man. Like the stage felt pretty real. Like, I mean, the whole thing felt real, but like a real location they could have found. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's
excited to see what the Rio is going to look like.
Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why he was there. Is apparently he's filming a new movie in Vancouver right now called October, and they apparently shot something at the Rio, and a part of the condition of them using the Rio was that he would come and do a Q&A.
Yeah, I wonder like how important it will be to the movie.
Yeah,
like that sequence. Really interesting.
I've heard some rumblings about the movie. I've heard that like it was a 45-day shoot, and like 43 of the 45 days were location and like everyday different locations. Like that's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So I think a bit different than Green Room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are
multiple green rooms.
Their offices are on the same lot as where we film Watson.
Oh.
Yeah. But they're never there.
Oh, okay.
They're never there. I don't even think they have studio space. I think they just have office space.
That's
as
crazy.
far as I'm aware. Yeah.
So you can go check out the costumes.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add before we get into our little game portion here, double bill?
Closing statements. Go watch the movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're a person who doesn't really like horror, kind of as myself, I think it rips. I think it's like, there's no jump scares. That's what I wanted to say. There's no jump scares in this movie and nothing feels cheap. Everything feels very earned in the horror and the stakes. And, it's a really, really cool flick.
A lot of it is the horror comes from the dread because you know what's going to happen next. You know things are not going to get better for them.
Yeah.
Like they set things up where like they're like, okay, go get the dogs, and you're like, well, that's obviously not going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
When the attack dogs show up,
you know they're gonna go, but you don't know when they're gonna go.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, get the blades out, and you see a couple guys with like these like machete type things going, like, okay, that's not going to be good for them.
Yeah.
Someone is going to get something hacked off.
I like how closing statements gets back into it. I like how like almost like Survivor video game it feels with like the ammunition count, and like how they kind of like acquire new tools and add them to their repertoire, and the climax when they're like counting out how many shots they have left is great. It's they're just smarter, you know?
Yeah,
they're just smarter and they underestimate them, and that you never underestimate liberals.
Speaking of, you were talking about earlier about the guy that plays Big Justin. He has that great moment when they get the gun from him, and he's like, "Oh, this gun has got 6 bullets." And he goes, "No, that is a revolver, and it has 5 rounds, and they're not called bullets; they're called cartridges." Like that whole like dialogue back and forth is so good.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God,
his
so good.
his sneaky phone he had too.
Yeah, and then he snaps it in
Yeah.
half when they realize, oh, this movie is great. You're right. Everyone needs to watch this. Like, the only thing I would say is if you haven't seen it and you're not good with like gross stuff, that's probably going to be the only thing that like maybe makes you not want to enjoy it. But like, it's not that scary. It's fun. The bad guys lose terribly.
Spectacularly,
Spectacular.
I would say. Yeah, I want to see. I want to see the post credits with the police being like, "What the fuck happened to you guys?
What happened here?
How did?" Yeah, I think that'd be a good scene. Just
Yeah.
we just saw the movie, so we don't need to hear them talk about it. But,
I know.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it and you've listened to this, that's a problem.
Yeah, we spoiled everything.
So I hope you have seen it. But if you haven't, well, just wait a couple years and then
you can forget about it. Yeah,
forget about this whole conversation, and then
when this is over, open up Letterboxd, click add to watch list, and then like a couple months from now, when you're going through your watch list, be like, "What should I watch? Oh yeah, I feel like I listened to a podcast about that. Yeah, let's throw this one on.
Yeah.
This one's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good.
I heard from a cool podcast. 2 guys were talking about it. They sound really hype about it.
Yeah, super good. Yeah, go check it out.
Cool.
Green Room.
Okay. So yeah, now we're at the portion where we do every episode where we do a double bill pairing where the only rule is it can't be another A24 film. Riley, as my guest, what movie did you pick and what's your reasoning?
I picked a movie that I also love that is a very different tone but has a similar not theme, circumstances, well, not even a band. It's a band movie.
Okay.
And I feel like there aren't very many good band movies where it just kind of focuses on the bandmates as characters. I can't think of any. There's probably lots, but I don't know. I chose the movie Frank, 2014. I think it's around the same time.
Yeah.
And I feel like watching Frank after watching Green Room would be the way I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, Frank is about a struggling musician who gets involved with a indie band that they're looking for a pianist, and he becomes part of them. And the gimmick of the band is Frank, played by Michael Fassbender, wears a paper mache head, and he's based off a real guy named Frank Sidebottom, I think,
something like that. Yeah,
that was a real musician that wore this like crazy paper mache head, and
he never takes it off,
ever, and you never see him with it off. And they go on a retreat to record an album, and that's one of my favorite music movies. It's just so weird, the music they're making. That's what I would do.
That's a great choice. It's so funny because on the last episode of this I did Room, which the director of Room is the one who did Frank Abrahamson. Yeah, so I talked a bit about that movie there.
Big Frank heads here.
Yeah, literally big Frank.
And not A24, which I was stoked to find when you asked me about this.
Yeah, that's a good choice. It's funny. I always, when I'm about to do one of these episodes, I always ask my wife, I'm like, what would you pair with it? And she suggests it Almost Famous for a very similar reason that you picked Frank, of like just the band dynamics.
True. Yeah. I haven't seen the movie in forever.
Yeah.
But
so good.
Yeah. Because I don't think you'd want to watch like, I don't know, another spooky horror movie or another like thriller after that. I think you kind of want something a little more light, maybe a little weird.
Yeah.
You kind of like, I don't think you want to go too like romancy or.
This is a good come down from Green Room.
Yeah. And it's still very entertaining and still a ride, and I think also very well paced.
Nice.
How about
Good
you,
choice.
Dakota?
So I was thinking about, I was like, I love a good let's punch a Nazi in the face movie. It's obviously the first thing that comes to my head is Indiana Jones and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so I was going to go that route, but I decided instead to just pick another movie by Jeremy Saulnier, and that's Rebel Ridge. This was a movie that came out a couple of years ago. I'm going to pull up the exact year that it came out.
2022.
2024. Yeah. So it was just last year, and I can't believe I already forget what year this came out. But like, this is a Netflix movie, and it felt like it was just dropped on Netflix and forgotten about, like basically everything that Netflix does these days, with the exception of Stranger Things. And I didn't even realize that Jeremy Saulnier had a new movie. I was like, oh shit, this is actually a new Saulnier movie, and it had been out for like a month or something like that. And I heard some other people, online talking about how much they liked it. I was like, oh yeah, I'll check this out one day, and realizing, oh, it's a Saulnier movie? Never mind. I'm watching this right now. Fantastic. It stars Aaron Pierre, who I think should be the next James Bond. I think he's absolutely incredible actor.
I heard Callum Turner might be up for the
I heard
role.
he's in the running. Yeah. Speaking of Green Room,
Denny wanted him.
Yeah, which I'd be cool with as well. I think Callum Turner's a great actor too.
Yeah, but we need a Black Bond.
I would love that.
I think it's time.
Yeah. And
he's British.
He is British. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's the only requirement.
Which is crazy because like he does such a good American accent.
Really, I got to check out this movie. I got to check out more of these guys because I've seen Green Room probably 4 times now.
Yeah. Well, Rebel Ridge is good because if you watch Green Room and Blue Room and stuff like that, if you want to see what Jeremy Saulnier looks by having a bit more of a budget, a bit more of a polished film, he still maintains that sort of DIY feel, but it's way more polished. And like you're like, oh, you got money and you actually put it to good use.
Right.
Like there's nothing more frustrating watching like a great indie director get a bigger budget and you're like, oh, you don't know how to spend more money. Like, congrats, you have more extras in the background.
Yeah.
No, he actually like knows what to do. And so this movie, if you don't know about it, it's about a guy who is trying to bail his cousin out from jail. He has a backpack full of cash and he gets stopped by the police, played by Don Johnson.
Ooh.
Great Don Johnson. And they decide to take the backpack full of money because civil forfeiture.
You got it.
Yeah, civil forfeiture is unfortunately a real civil asset forfeiture is there we go, I got it there. 4 times the charm is a real thing in the United States and is just about one of the most insane things where the police can just take your money or your house or your car or whatever it is that they want and be like, no, this is evidence, this is ours now, and they don't need to be accountable for it at all. So this is a guy who gets a backpack full of money that was going to be used as bail money stolen from him, and he's like, you're not doing that. And then I'm not going to ruin this for you. You kind of have to like just watch it because much like Green Room, the character developments are these like little breadcrumb beats. And then there's like a reveal that happens. And you're just like, oh, cool. No, okay.
Cool.
The police don't stand a chance.
I'm excited to watch it. I'm a little disappointed he didn't keep up with his color naming convention.
I know.
Because like Red Rebel Ridge is right there, you know?
Yep, right there it was. So great movie. Aaron Pierre, Don Johnson, 2 terrific actors, worth checking out for sure.
I will.
All right. Well, Riley, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate this.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Long time listener, big
first time caller.
First time caller. No, this was awesome. Very fun to talk about movies. Love to do it again.
Where can people find more about what you got going on? Is there anything that they could check out? What do you have?
So in this Amazon show that's going to come out, and I don't know when it's going to come out, but you can see me in that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll that's definitely one I'll make sure that I am sharing as well. I'm very excited to watch that.
For sure. Yeah, it'll be fun. And if anyone needs an actor or anything, I'm available. Yeah.
Yeah, send an email to me. I'll collect 10% of whatever fee it is.
Sure, yeah.
Don't tell your actual agent this.
Dakota's my part-time agent now. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. This has been a That Shelf podcast. Visit thatshelf.com for more great film discourse. Follow the show on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at ContraZoomPod. What are your thoughts on Green Room? Leave a comment on Spotify or send us an email. Thank you to Eric and Kevin Smale for the theme music and Stephanie Pryor for the logo design. If you like to listen to podcasts on YouTube, we do post all episodes there as well. And if you really like the show, consider tipping us on coffee. Thanks for checking us out.